Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to GB Gaming. Today we're going to be taking a second look at Sins of Empires, which is an EVE Online total conversion for Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion. Now, fairly recently, I'm not sure how long ago, probably about a week ago, Bane did a showcase on the Amar, which is one of the races from EVE Online. There are several more races that we're going to be going through, but today I'm going to be looking at the Gallente. Now, not all of you are going to have played EVE Online, but both myself and Bane have. I think Bane a little more extensively than me. He's always done the clan and guild thing. He did a lot in World of Warcraft, and I think following that he did a lot in Star Wars The Old Republic, whereas I tend to be not a solo player. I certainly work with a group, but I'm not quite so into my raiding or my PvP when it comes to MMOs. But I did play a fair amount of EVE because I found it very calming and enjoyable. I was more of an industrial/miner character rather than a PvPer. But there we are. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. So we're looking at the Gallente. Who are the Gallente in EVE Online? Well, they are basically Space America, or Space US, I should say. They're all about freedom and personal liberty, which is a far cry from most of the other empires, if you will. The Amar are very much an imperium. They're quite a closed people, under the supreme control of one. The Minmatar are very militant, escaped ex-slaves, and the Caldari, well, they're kind of doing their thing. They're almost a corporate infrastructure, but the Gallente are the first, or the only really democratic people, or democratic group within EVE. And that's who we are looking at. I'm quite excited about this. You can see I've got quite a lot of buildings in the background and quite a lot of ships. Let's just zoom out a little ways so you can see. This is just a showcase to show some of the ships, some of the stations off that are currently in the game. Now, I should probably point out right at the start of this episode that the mod is very much still in development. I've been speaking with Vader, who's one of the modelers and texturers and particle effects guys for the mod, and I've also been speaking with the mod lead, who is thinking about doing a Modders on Modding with us to talk about EVE and why he feels that this is the such a good fit for Sins of a Solar Empire. So fingers crossed you'll be seeing that in the relatively near future when we can organise a time and date that's convenient for both of us. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to start with stations, just to take a look at them visually. So let's just open this up. Now let's just find a asteroid. Here are the mines that you get. Now this is very reflective of the EVE universe. You come across these all over the place and you can kind of fly your ship around them. Really nice. So these are the resource extractors for Sins. Nice conversion. I think it's very well done. The crystal one I think is fairly similar. Yes. Actually, that's metals. But yes, there we go. There's a crystal one, and it is fairly similar to the metal ones. Now, we have the sub-capital array, which is your frigate array for the purposes of Sins. Here we go. This is one of... These are stations that are buildable by players, interestingly enough. You do... I can't remember what they're all called. I think this one is called the Astra House, but do correct me if I'm wrong. And you can build them. They're kind of industrial arrays that you can upgrade with your core, and you can do various different things with them, which is pretty damn cool. You see a lot of these, dotted around space. More so in high sec, I find that these particular things exist because they're less subject to attack, but they're really, really good for industrial cores. So this is your sub-capital array. Really nice, good port of a model, very good port of a model, and then you've got your capital array, which is the Big Daddy version, looking very, very nice. And this fellow here is the Titan array. Now, I've just put this in. This is actually a tactical structure. We won't go over it twice, but this is the array that builds your Titan. Moving on from that, let's just find the military research lab, which is over here. We've got 8 of them because I wanted to build all the ships. There we go. This is your military research lab. Now this isn't... I'm not sure, but I don't think this is an exclusively Gallente structure. In fact, I think these are dotted around lots of known space. I think it might be Caldari from the look of it, but I'm not sure. And I don't know if it's subject to change, because these, as I say, these are dotted around fairly freely. I don't know if it is in fact Caldari. And you will probably find that the the civilian station, that looks very Gallente. It's got this this bubble on the top. That's got quite a Gallente look about it. It's kind of got the same shape in a way as the Nix that you'll see later on. So yeah, I would say that's Gallente, but I'm certainly not sure about the military research lab. Let's take a look and see what we also have. We have a trade network. This is currently an Amar station, and I'm sure the mod developers will pop into the comments once I let them know that I've made this video, and they'll tell me if this is subject to change. But we saw this in the last video, but we'll just have a quick look around it again. That is a huge Amar trading port, and to go with the trading port we have an industrial array. Nope, that's not the industrial array. There is one though, I promise you. I did put it somewhere. Haha! Here's the industrial array. This is the Raitaru. Once again, not 100% sure if that's Galente, although it does share certain similarities. But it's nice. It's a good model. You can see what it's for with these giant holders. Do you want to call them holders? Cargo bays. And then it's got a little port there that ships can dock up to. Very nice. And last but not least, the propaganda network. That's currently Amar as well, but that may well be subject to change. Let us know, mod developers. Do we have anything else in this particular menu that we need to look at? We don't. So that's all your civilian stations, if you will. Moving on to the tactical stations, I think I've put them all over here. We've got a variety of different blaster arrays. Now, I did notice that the models for the 3 sizes of your blaster arrays look pretty much identical from what I can tell. The models are all the same, but they do varying amounts of damage. You can see the small does 145 and has 35,000 hull. Moving up, you can see that they do greater amounts of damage, but they are also more costly in line with that. These are stations that players can place outside things called POSs. Now, a POS is a safe bubble of space that you can put up in nullsec or wormhole sec. This is in EVE Online, of course, and you can build certain industrial stations within that bubble, and you can also build defences. These are some of the defences that players would build in order to protect their stations. You also have the ECM battery. Now, this is a fairly standard battery as well. And what that does is it kind of debuffs the enemy. What does this do? The multispectral ECM, it disables enemy weapons of the target. And I believe there's 1 or 2 more bits and bobs that we want to show off. So we've shown all these off. We've got the jump bridge. This jump bridge here, which I think is a gorgeous design. It's maybe Jovian. This allows a jump beacon to exist between 2 places. So if I had a planet over here that also had a jump beacon active, I could jump my ship straight there without having to mess around with the phase lanes. That's always a feature that I really enjoy in late game. The Sino Jammer, once again, is fairly similar in what it does. Let's just take a look. That slows down jump speed. So this is a jump blocker. It prevents the enemy forces from hyperspacing to this planet. So that's actually a prevention rather than a direct defense. And then we've got the Titan array, which I've already shown you. Now, you're probably going to be a little bit more excited about the ships than you are about the stations themselves, but I always feel it's really important to show off the stations because it's quite important to the whole game that everything immerses you as much as humanly possible. So let's just zoom in on some of the ships. Now, I've got these separated into different categories to all intents and purposes. We'll start off with your utility ships. So these are non-combat vessels. So this is your Brutix Envoy. You can send this over to people who you're hoping to make your friends. There are 2 types of Brutix. This particular shape of ship is also the Scout. So there's a Brutix Scout somewhere as well. Unfortunately, my Scouts they buggered off as I was preparing this. But they look very much like that. And you also have this Orca here, which is your colony ship, your standard colony frigate. So this Orcas used to be the bee's knees if you were an industrial / mining character. These were the things that you wanted. It's all changed now. It's very, very different. But everybody wanted an Orca, and if you had an Orca, you were an absolute baller. You can colonize planets with this. There is something called a crew extractor, which is an ability from the stock game. It allows you to operate neutral mining arrays and things like that. And you can also construct various different citadels. Now, the citadels are your stations, your defense stations. The Astra House citadel at the ship's present location. Your ship is consuming in the process. We have the Fortizar citadel, which is, I presume, a bigger version. Let's just see. Yes, it's significantly more expensive. And then there's the Keepstar citadel, which is totally massive. I think we might just build the Keepstar, or tell it to build the Keepstar, and then we'll take a look at that in a bit. Moving on to your frigates. Your frigates are... oh, there you go. There's Scout Brutix. Look. You can... Do you know what? I actually lied to you about the Brutix. The Brutix is not the Scout. This looks like it's your standard combat frigate. I'm pretty sure it was a Scout there. But there we are. I'm just going mad. So what other ships do we have in the frigate class? We've got the Celestis. This is the first ship that you get as a Gallente player. This is your starter ship, so I presume that this is a light frigate. It's probably better if we check. The Imcus is the Scout. There we go. Interestingly, it looks like this particular ship isn't the first one that you get. It looks like it is an ECM frigate. The first one that you get is the Incursus, which I should have somewhere. Let's just hover over everything. Where's my Incursus? Let's build one. That should have built pretty damn quickly, so where it is beyond me. Oh no, it's not going to build quickly because I haven't got...
reporting for duty.
Haven't got insta-build on anymore. There's the Incursus, look.
Give the order.
This is the first one you get, I'm sorry. Yes, you.
Yes, sir.
You, Incursus. Show me your features. There we go, this is the first one you get. I actually lied to you. It's the... I don't know where you're going. Oh yes, you were going to go and build something, weren't you? The Celestis is the second thing that I got as a Gallente player. But yes, so there's your basic frigate. Let's just click on this guy again and see what else we have. We have the Tristan, which I think was somewhere. It's hiding.
Pirate raiders are on the loose.
Oh, there's an Incursus. Look, I did have one. The Tristan, which is... I really like this design. In EVE Online, this thing actually kind of closes itself up a little bit when it goes into warp mode, and then it opens up like a flower when it's not. That's one really nice thing about EVE, is like the mechanical bits of the ships all move. We have the Catalyst. Here it is. Very, very nice ship. Now, I probably should say about the Galente, they have two... Whoopsie daisy. We have two primary focuses for the Galente. Let's just go back onto pause so things don't just go random places. The Galente are focused on railguns and blasters. Those are their two primary weapons that they tend to use. Much more limited in missile capability, although there are one or two ships that do focus on missiles, and their secondary combat tactic is primarily drones. They do use a lot of drones, the Galente do, and they're considered the primary race for drones in EVE Online. In addition to that, they tend to armor tank. So shield tanking isn't their thing. It's all about armor for them. And you can see this has got 17 armor, so which is pretty high. Certain races do decide to shield tank, but the Galente very much armor tank, so their reps are mainly focused around armor, and that actually does translate through into the abilities. Unfortunately, because I've built this massive station here, it's very, very difficult for me to... Look, I'm not interested in that. I want to zoom in on this. Yeah, I'm having a hard time zooming in on my ships because of the huge citadel next to me. We also have the Vexor, which you can see it carries fighters. Little drones, I should say, and it has a micro warp drive and a stasis webifier, so that can get to your enemies quickly, and it can hold them in place, or at least slow them down. We have the Executor, which it looks like a repair ship. They are all upgraded to level 2, by the way. You can see upgrade the Exterior Cruiser to the Ornerios Advanced Logistic Cruiser. I don't know if that's showing visibly, because I did all the research using the dev mode, so I don't know if that looks physically different. Moving on, we've got the Thorax Cruiser, which it's got a Sino-Field generator, which this is to stop enemies getting away again, largely. So this is a directly offensive ship that stops your enemies escaping. The Celestis we've had a look at very briefly, and then we've got the Brutix, which is clearly a direct damage frigate. Yes, yeah, it's a tank almost. Moving forward, we have... I don't know why you're there. That's not where you're supposed to be, is it? We'll tell that to move there. Right. Moving on to your cruisers, there is a smaller selection of cruisers. We've got the Hecate Tactical Destroyer, which is pretty damn cool. You can see it's a tier 3 destroyer. It's got armor hardener, tracking computer, and your standard rep. Or your standard reps. We've got the Dominics, which can also carry drones. I'm actually surprised that not that many drones seem to be being carried, because it's one of the primary focuses of... Yeah, see, there you go. This gets a drone bonus, as it very well should. You've got covert ops cloaking. This is a covert ops ship, nice. And as per usual, a micro warp drive, nice. This looks like a drone carrier. I mean, this has the visuals of how it should be. So it looks like you cloak up, get to your enemy, and then throw a swarm of drones at it. We have the Megathron, this is a direct combat ship. It does have drones, of course, but this is built to kill. It does repair its own armor. It's got the Bastion module, which diverts power from propulsion and jump systems in order to provide sufficient energy to run the defensive module. So it's going to tank. It's going to tank really nicely. And then we have the Vindicator, which is a tier 2 variant of it. Let's just see what kind of abilities it's got. It's got an armor hardener. This is also very much a tank, but it's capable of holding your enemies in place. Does it do significantly more damage? 359. The Megathron itself seems to do more damage than this. So this is going to be more of a harassing vessel. Moving to the Hyperion, which is a gorgeous ship. This is really very, very attractive. Got drones again. And... once again, very much armor hardener. So this is, once again, just an armor tanking hard vessel to kill. And then we've got the Myrmidon, which is the long and pointy, as we like to call it. This one has some drones, has an armoured mind link. So this is providing reps to the fleet around it. And it also has a drone bonus to all the ships. A lot of the ships do have a drone bonus, so that stands to reason. Moving on, yet again, there are all the cruisers that you get are the capital ships. Now we've got a few of these. This is the Rorqual refit, which every race starts with. It's your colony cap ship, and has a number of abilities in line with that. We've got the colonize ability, we have panic mode, which makes it invulnerable for a brief amount of time, a shield transporter, which allows it to give shields to other vessels nearby, and a mining boost, which is extremely useful, particularly in early game, so you can get all your resources. Excuse me, your resources in. Had a hiccup then, that was nice. Next in line, I'm doing these in no particular order, I should probably tell you, is the, oh no, Gigantra. And let's see, we've only got one 5 hammerhead drones, so this is going to be a pretty hard hitter. Got a triage module, which diverts power from the propulsion and jump systems in order to provide sufficient energy to the logistic modules. It'll prevent the ship from moving or jumping while the triage cycle is active. But look at the ability cooldown rate. That's pretty amazing. We've got the triage repairer, the triage cap. This is very much a healer. This particular ship, very much a healer. And then we've got two versions of something called a Morcus, or Moros, excuse me. This is actually Ninazu. I lied to you. This is the name of the ship is the Gigantra. This is in Ninazu. Right, so we've got two versions of the Moros. We've got an anti-subcapital Moros, which does more damage to smaller vessels, cruisers and frigates specifically. It's got a good tracking computer on it, a hardener for tanking, and a siege module. which makes it unable to move, but really ups that maximum damage. And then we've got an anti-capital variant of the Moros. Let's just see. This has got blasters, so it's fairly short range, and this has got railguns, which are longer range, and they tend to pack a punch to larger vessels. This tanks, and it can repair itself somewhat as well. So it's good in a slugging match against another capital ship. And then, last but not least, we have got the Revenant. I don't think this is an exclusively Caldari design. It looks like a pirate one, actually. Clearly Caldari inspired, if you just take a look at the overall shape of it. But these spikes here, they indicate that it's a pirate design of some form. Tell me what the Remnant's from and what corresponding faction it belongs to. We have the Shadow drones here. The fighter bombers, and we also have an energy neutralizer, shield reps, an ECM burst. So yeah, this is quite a good utility capital ship. And over here, because it flew away like a bastard, is a Nyx. Now in fact, I think we've missed one. We've missed one over here, which is almost a sub-Nyx. We've got the Thanatos, which this should be a carrier. Yeah, look at that. We've got the Firebolg and the Satyr squads of drone/fighters, fighter support units. We have the EMP smart bomb, which just does direct damage. There's a cruiser armor upgrade on there, but it must reach level 4 first, and it's got the capital armor repairer. So this is a fairly long-lasting ship that does want to stay back a little bit and use its drones/fighters in order to attack the enemy. Now, we've got the big brother of the Thanatos. We've got the Nyx. This thing is hard. It's hardcore. You can see we've got the super carrier refit, which we're just going to put on it anyway. And then we've got 5 different types of drones/fighters. We've got Fireball and Satyrs, and we also have the Cyclops, capital ships and Titans, so that's going to be really useful. Really, really nice ship. Now, I've seen... it's actually this way round, I should probably point out. This is the direction that it would move in. This particular ship is very, very difficult to get. The supercarriers are hard to get. They take a long time. It takes players years, or it can take players, I should say, years of play to get one of these. And they're not very common. They don't feature very highly in fleets, but they're awesome ships. Particularly when they're spec'd in ways that really enhance their drones. Anyhow, moving on to the really, really big ships. This is technically a capital ship, although I would consider it a Titan in many, many ways. We have the Erebus. Now, what does the Erebus do? Should we take a look? It doesn't have any drones, but you can see it's got this Aurora Domini, which just does a huge amount of damage. It's got the EMP smart bomb. It can itself be a jump bridge, so if you warp it into enemy areas, it can be a jump bridge, and then you've got the command link, which reps the fleet around it. Moving on, now these are actually Titan. This is a Erebus cap ship, and this is an Erebus Titan. Not sure what the technical difference is. Let's just take a look. 13,500 hull, and 13,500... Oh, wow. Is that... Yes, this is quite different. These Titans have about 100 times more hull, so they're pretty damn hard, but pretty similar. This has a phenomena generator adapted from advanced research into natural wormhole phenomena. This module wields Avatar's massive radar sensor array to bend local space and affect the properties of all nearby vessels. So very interesting stuff. We've got the plasma smart bomb, and we once again have the jump bridge, and it's got capital weapons, power grid upgrade, and armor tank improvement, so you can improve this ship further. This one is the command variant. Well, I'm not sure what it's commanding with what it's got. It doesn't seem to actually have any command upgrades, which is a minor criticism, I suppose. And then we have the Vanquisher, which is fairly similar to an Erebus, but you can see that it's got a different skin on it. If we just zoom in on the skin of the Erebus, looks very clean, very standard Galente, but the Vanquisher, look at the skin on that. It's much more attractive, actually. This has a jump bridge, plasma spark bomb. I think a little bit more work needs to be done on these Titans in order to differentiate them from one another. But we can see that they're pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. Indeed. Right, moving out. That's all the ships that we have, so that's effectively everything that we needed to show you. But what I will do is I'm going to take a group of frigates and I'm going to throw them into that gravity well. I'm going to take our cruisers, and looks like a cap ship as well, throw them in there, and our titans, and I'll throw them over there. Let's just unpause the game, let it do its thing. Now the reason I'm doing this is just to show what the combat looks like. This is going to take forever, this Keepstar, but it's massive, it's humongous. Look at the damage it does. Average missile damage of 2,789, 7,047. This thing is a beast of the Bodmins.
Comlink online.
Right, we've got everything we need for that next. It's going to just thrash the enemies. Everything's moving along quite nicely. Where are our frigs? Are our frigs going as they were told? Yes, they are. So we'll have a look a little bit at a little bit of combat. This is not a let's play, just to be clear.
Phase jump complete.
We've got one phase jump complete. Whoa! That jump effect, or it does cause a little bit of lag. Now we should be able to see the, yes, there you go. You can see the rail guns, and the plasma guns are shorter range. Looks like we're against some Gallente ships as well in this particular sector. Any more ships doing anything fascinating there? Got the Tristan over here. I'm not sure what it's doing. It's decided to rep our friendly ship. Oh no, it hasn't. It's attacking. Ah, those Concorde battleships are going to win. Really like the sound effects. I mean, these the sound effects are taken directly from Eve. Right, our Titans have arrived, or one of our Titans has arrived. Let's watch it just smash everything around it. It's not going to... Ooh, we're against some Amar. Yeah, you can see this.
Orders, Commander.
There's not much that's going to live through this. And you can see they're all about those blasters. Do we actually have any drones out? We don't, sadly.
Power to jump engines.
Oh, and the other Titans turned up. They're probably feeling a little bit upset about everything that's occurring here. Let's just watch this from the poor Concorde battleship's perspective. Just one shot has nearly taken it down. One shit. And there you go, there's the second shot. They fire pretty slowly, but they do a vast wealth of damage. And here we have our cruisers doing their thing. Once again, fairly similar, effect-wise. But good sound effects, unique ones as well from Eve. And just generally really nice all around. It's got, oh god, a lot of our ships have got their weapons disabled at the moment, just as I wanted to watch them. Ah, there we are. Any of our drones in action that we can watch? And you can see these guys, they're just going to minigun everything. Very nice. You can see the kind of damage our drones are doing without even having the larger ships close by. So drones are really important in this, and they are showing up as important for Caldari, which is nice. Caldari? Galente. Unique music assets as well. So overall, that's really nice. Let's just zoom out, and before we leave, while this music goes on, We're going to take a quick look at some of the visuals here now. You've already seen that all of these are accurate to the EVE universe. The menu is still very similar to stock Sins, but many mods have chosen to keep it that way for familiarity. But all the images, all the buttons if you will, are different. You can see that we've got the Sandshit incursions, which are the pirates. We have our relationship screen, and we have the diplomacy screen. Let's take a very, very brief look at the different research that you can do. And this has been worked on very well. Again, this is why it's such a well-developed mod. There are certain things that in development mods are sometimes missing or are sometimes lacking because they haven't been developed yet. They're almost afterthoughts in some ways. Research is one of them, and abilities for ships are a second one. They breed real immersion for mods, and this is done extremely well. You can see that there's a lot of different researches, adaptive membranes for hull, we've got various armor platings, ability unlocks, you can see, and then all of the ship unlocks as well, which is just great. Interdictor refits, covert ops, and marauder refits, heavy assault refits, Erebus and the Nyx. So yeah, really, really good. And then you've got kind of your weapon upgrades as well for your blasters and railguns, and arbalest launchers for your missiles, although they're used a little bit more rarely. In the Empire tree, again, it's following a fairly similar way, but this is a little bit more basic because the mechanics of EVE were more focused on your ships than things outside of yourself. It's a little bit more sparse. You can see Phase Mastery's just got the wormhole and long range jumps for the mechanics of Sins, and then you've got better mining upgrades for both crystal and what are they called in this? Common metals and rare metals. You've got your orbital commerce with improvements and your refinement with improvements, and broadcasting, which increases your culture. So yeah, fairly standard listing there, and different planet unlocks as well, so you can colonize them. Defenses quite well fleshed out, all the different types of things that you can build, including the Keepstar that we are in the process of building, and improved subsystems. These subsystems here, incidentally, are what allow you to upgrade your ships to tier 2s and tier 3s. So do keep an eye on that. If you find that you can't research these fine fellows here, it may be because you haven't unlocked one of these. The diplomacy, fairly standard to the stock game. So nothing really exciting to see there, nothing unusual to see there. And then fleet logistics, as you know, is as you would expect. The maximum capital ships that you can have is 18, and the maximum supply is 3,460. Artifacts, let's see what kind of artifacts we have. These look like they are all stock game. Yep, these are very much stock game artifacts, so we won't look at those. That might change in the future. And there we have it. I think that's all we really needed to do, except for see if the Keepstar was finished. Let's speed the game up and finish that Keepstar, take a look at it, and then I will let you fine people go and, well, and download the mod and enjoy it. It looks like the Nyx has had a bit of trouble. It's got stuck on the Keepstar. It's very, very unhappy. Stupid Nyx. Only 67% constructed. Blimey. Come on.
Pirate raiders are on the loose.
But yes, Ben and I have been playing this, and while the pace of the early game is slower than most mods, we do find that later on it really picks up speed. The only trouble that you as a player might run into is the fact that you can get so many ships. You can get so many ships in this mod that it... Oh, those pirates aren't going to have a good time. Let's have a look at them. There you go. There's the there are the pirates, which are going to die very soon. Well, there go the pirates. There's the Keepstar Citadel, and she looks awesome. Love it. What kind of weapon damage can this do? Just endless weapon damage. It's got the Citadel tethering, which restores friendly ships. It's got multispectral ECM, sensor and dampeners, and the Vortron projector, which does huge amounts of damage. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as I say, download the mod, take a look for yourself. I would probably advise, if you're going to do multiplayer, sticking it on small fleets in the game options. If it's on large fleets, you might really struggle with lag. But that's the only, if you want to call it an issue, the only downside to this mod that I've come across is it's very, very hungry for system resources when you have very large fleets. But that's not this mod, that's Sins. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've jabbered for long enough. Perhaps next week or the week after, we'll take a look at the Caldari, which are my favourite race visually. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Gul, out.